Tell me a story.
I can tell you a kind of disgusting kindergarten story from my past.
Oh, good. I never went to kindergarten. I love it already.
So I was in kindergarten, and it was nap time, and I knew that if I went to the bathroom during nap time, everybody would hear everything I'm doing in the bathroom.
Right.
So I decided I would go in my pants. I was probably crying or something, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The nap time ended, so I got up with everything in my pants and sat down in my seat. And everything squished all around in my legs and every crevice of my body. And I guess the teacher got wise, and she started going around the room sniffing each of our butts. Yeah. And then she got to my butt, and then, of course that's jackpot.
You can't help but love the guy. What a weird kid.
Every season of Survivor is a story, but sometimes that story can be told over the course of multiple seasons. This video will be covering John Cochran, one of Jeff Probst's all-time favorite players who played a very divisive Survivor game that completely changed the course of that season and the Survivor franchise moving forward. How did this scrawny, pale guy cause so much chaos? Well,
39 days, 18 people, 1 Survivor.
Survivor is back in Samoa. Now, don't let the name South Pacific fool you. We have escaped the ugliness of Nicaragua, no doubt, but we are back to the same location we were in for seasons 19 and 20. We have 16 new players again, with 2 returnees in Coach and Ozzy. This season, heads up, is almost a one-for-one copy, format-wise, from season 22, which did finish airing before this one began filming, so everyone here should be familiar with all the twists that are about to come. This does mean Redemption Island is back, and whoever wins the merge duel and the finale duel will get back into the game despite being voted off. That's right, if you're voted off, you can get back in the game. John says, I may be the most savvy Survivor player ever since I wrote an award-winning essay about Survivor juries. Did the essay say anything about telling your tribes you pooped your pants in kindergarten? Just wondering. Ozzy and Coach then arrive, and everyone wants Ozzy on their tribe and no one wants Coach. Yeah, that adds up actually. But then Jeff finally talks to John and...
I mean, I know that like the players you really like, you tend to call them by their last name. So I was hoping you could call me Cochran.
Okay, all great players?
Yeah.
We'll see if you live up, Cochran. Cochran, reaction to seeing Coach and Ozzy.
I mean, they have so much experience. They played, this is their 3rd time each. They have so much knowledge of the game and in terms of surviving that I think they'll be huge assets to us.
Cochran, you didn't even hesitate when you said they've both played 2 times before. You knew that.
Yes, I am a fan of the game, so I'm not going to hide that. I'm this is an out-of-body experience for me right now. I have a buff collection at home, so.
Question, why does Jeff act like Cochran knowing Coach and Ozzy have played twice before is somehow this super fan knowledge? That's something anyone could easily Google. That's not like some deep quote that no one references or anything. Like that's like basic knowledge. Thankfully, Ozzy lands on Cochran's tribe and we get a hero match between Ozzy and Coach for camp supplies. Ozzy wins, and upon arriving at the Savai'i camp, Cochran keeps it honest and tells everyone that yes, I do go to Harvard, and no one seems to care. But then Ozzy says, forget building a shelter, let's go swimming.
Ozzy suggested, let's just kind of have fun in the ocean. So the only option was to get in our underwear. And I was really opposed to doing this. I have this really pale skin. You can practically see through it. You can see my organs beating underneath my skin. So I wasn't crazy about the idea of going in the water. It's just gonna make me look more like a pathetic twerp than I already do with my clothes on. I'm regretting this already. I mean, if this is like the 90210 tribe, I'm definitely one of the zeros.
Look at him, slow motion.
We then see Ozzy say, I am skeptical of Cochran because he is clearly someone who will not be able to contribute physically, which if you've seen Ozzy's past seasons, he cares a lot about that. It's true though. Cochran seems like a terminally online person who can self-deprecate really well. Just an observation. At the immunity challenge, they lose by 1 coconut and the tribe mainly blames Semhar for this, so they want her out, not Ozzy. Ozzy thinks Semhar is hot, so he wants Cochran gone. Oh boy, maybe Coach's tribe would have been a better fit after all. Cochran says, my Achilles heel is my crippling insecurity, so hearing Ozzy think I am the weakest really sucks. We then go to Tribal, where Cochran says, I want to be here more than Semhar, and I will contribute way more around camp than she ever will. And Semhar is like, oh, you wanting to be here is a negative against you, which I'm not quite sure if I That makes sense, but whatever. Cochran says, I'll be your genie in a bottle, except you won't have to rub the bottle. I'll just be a genie. So they all go to vote, and
I think it's pretty obvious why I'm voting for you. You've questioned my intelligence, you've questioned my commitment to this game, and you're making me question why you have to be here any longer, so I can't take it.
First person voted out of Survivor South Pacific. Semhar. Semhar, the tribe has spoken.
let me put it this way, this season is all about 4 people. Ozzy, Coach, Brandon, and Cochran. Cochran is getting almost as much screen time as Ozzy, as he is tied for the second most confessionals with Coach after 1 episode. This means we have a massive character on our hands here. By the way, did you know that Patreon is free to sign up for? Yes, that is the place where I give updates, post videos early, and have you all pick what I make. Now has a free option. Link in the description, you can cancel anytime, and there's a 15% discount if you do sign up for 1 year. Thank you for your support. Episode 2 has Cochran thanking everyone for saving him, but he says in retrospect, I may have gone a bit too hard on Semhar at Tribal in an effort to save myself. He says his fight or flight led him to fight, which he found a bit unexpected. So he is going to implement a new plan, he says. He says time to be cool and not a nerd. Yeah, right. Papa Bear says Cochran's like a kid in a man's body with how awkward he is.
My mom's gonna have mixed feelings about the new Cochran. She'll be thrilled that I'm taking initiative and doing work, but the first thing she said when she found out I was gonna be doing Survivor is, I don't want you handling a machete without supervision. I appreciate her advice, but new Cochran doesn't follow mommy's advice all the time. He cuts open a coconut when he needs to, and he does it by himself with a machete. I'm certainly never gonna become the big provider. I know I'm never gonna be Ozzy, I'm never gonna be Keith, never gonna be Jim, but I can at least be a new Cochran.
While Cochran is working hard, he is definitely not embracing the cool persona he said he'll be from now on. We especially see this when Jim says our tribe is split into 2 groups. One group is the cool people, which is about 5 of us, including me, and the others are Cochran, Don, and Papa Bear, who don't really fit in and are just on the outs. Their tribe wins immunity and reward, and in episode 3, Cochran is attracted to Elise. You see, Don and Whitney are already married, so Elise, while attractive, is the only single lady on their tribe. Papa Bear, who is gay, says, Cochran, I can teach you how to approach women.
It's not that different from a guy.
Right.
You walk over and you say, hi, how you doing? Can I tell you something? I really like those earrings. And just reverse it.
I don't think that's
Listen
gonna work at all for me.
Listen
I
to me.
really like those earrings.
No.
Papa Bear is a nut, giving me girl advice, which is like, you know, I'll take it, but I don't particularly want it. I think I saw it at the store across the street, and I just noticed the earrings you're wearing. They're so great. I thought I was gonna get them for my sister or something. So, where'd you get these earrings?
Don't say that ever.
I don't know why I was
The
listening to
earrings, honestly, if you came up and told me that you thought my earrings were good, I would think you're gay.
Yeah.
Now, do you recall the poop story I showed you at the beginning of this video? Yes, that was Cochran approaching Elise, and I think it is safe to say he failed in his flirting endeavors. Both the Papa Bear flirting and Elise poop story scenes are secret scenes and were cut from the main story, but I thought they were just too funny to not include here. Their tribe loses immunity, and the consensus seems to be that either Papa Bear or Cochran will be voted off next. Knowing this, we see Cochran and Papa Bear get into a massive fight that I am surprised was cut from the show.
How do you want Papa spelled?
John. John Cochran is Papa Bear in another language. You know I'm sitting next to you, by the way. And there'll be no holding hands with the vote. Not into that. Have a set of balls and stand there like a man when your name gets called. And when Jeff goes, get your torch, I'll be saying, good luck. Because you'll be spending the night with your new girlfriend, Christine.
You said you wanted to meet Christine, right?
I will meet her on finale night.
Yeah, I think we could arrange something sooner. You don't want to wait all the way until finale night.
Oh, if it's me tonight, you best not come back and say something rude. Because I'll be watching.
I'm holding up the thing when I say.
Oh, yeah, you better say. He's the nicest guy in the world.
Saying Papa Bear couldn't stand you.
Wow, that was so intense. Papa Bear runs out into the forest and minutes later comes back with a bulge in his shorts that wasn't there before. And no, it's not what you think. He's trying to imply he found an idol. And Cochran says, this is all a ploy, and I hope no one believes it. At Tribal Council, Jeff asked people about the pros and cons of looking for an idol. And Cochran says, while having an idol is nice, people seeing you searching for one is a much bigger negative in his eyes. So they all go to vote, and
I think you're a sweetheart, a really great guy, but you make me anxious, and I don't need any more anxiety in my life.
Third person voted out of Survivor South Pacific. Papa Bear. Papa Bear, the tribe has spoken.
Honestly, I don't know how many tribals Cochran can survive if Savai keeps losing more immunities. However, episode 4 sees Elise and Ozzy are in lust. Sorry, Cochran, and Jim recognizes that this is bad for their game, especially his. After all, when Ozzy starts making out with a girl, that's it. We saw it in Micronesia. Just look at him and Amanda. I mean, come on. Jim tells Cochran a plan he has been concocting to eliminate Elise without Ozzy knowing the next time they go to tribal. This is great for Cochran, but Jim says it'll be hard to do this plan since Elise is so hot. That's what Jim says. And Cochran says, I can wear a seaweed wig if that helps make this happen. Cochran then talks to Dawn about this Elise plan. She's like, oh yeah, I'm all in. That is only 3 votes out of 7 though. They will need at least 1 or 2 more. And frankly, the swing votes here are Keith and Whitney. Whitney, who is married by the way, and is flirting hard with Keith. That's a whole other story, let me tell you. They win immunity, and in episode 5, I need to show you a very important scene that takes place at the Redemption Island Arena.
It wasn't a team. It is Benjamin, Albert, and Sophie. But who's the ending to? Benjamin and Albert. The
Benjamin,
team.
coach.
What's his name? What was his birth name? It wasn't Coach. It was Benjamin, wasn't it? And you know, they're children, 26, 22. They over there listening to all the Benjamins, Halloween jokes, Chucky the Cheese jokes. They want it. He going off for loyalty, got them feet. Oh, Benjamin's so loyalty. Come on, every day got a story. I wasn't buying it. No. So they trade like yesterday, like the tribal was all cahoots. Benjamin, let's give a hug. Keep that hug. For me, because it wasn't real.
I know that scene seemed like a joke, and it mostly is. I mean, Stacy is hilarious, but the info she reveals about who is running Upolu is all true. Benjamin, Albert, and Sophie are running that tribe. Back at the Savai camp, Dawn then tells everyone what Stacy ranted about on Redemption, about how Benjamin, Albert, and Sophie are running Upolu. Ozzy then jokes with Cochran about how to spell his name, and Cochran says, hey, don't worry about spelling my name. Don't even have my name exit your lips when talking about who to vote off. The reality is that Ozzy does want Cochran gone next, and Cochran can sense this at all times. But Cochran sees Ozzy and Elise are lying around, noticing how hard Cochran is working, like they're just watching him while they're laying down. Cochran says those two are so lazy, and he thinks that Ozzy has entered his middle-aged phase, which he refers to as basically you lie around all day and occasionally catch some fish, and people are like, oh, you're so amazing, but he isn't doing any of the other camp work, which is wild considering Prime Ozzy and Cook Islands was only 5 years ago.
Having watched Cook Islands and Fans vs. Favorites, you see Ozzy as this kind of superhuman, Mowgli-esque guy that can do no wrong. But Ozzy has kind of faded into this middle-aged Ozzy who, you know, has a few moments of glory each day where he runs out and gets us some fish. But otherwise, he's just kind of a lazy ass. He's becoming the arrogant fisher boy, jungle boy, who feels like he can do no wrong and that he's entitled to our deference. And the more he acts like this, it's going to come back to bite him in the ass.
What I find interesting about that assessment from Cochran is how it is very similar to what Penner said in Cook Islands as to why he didn't want to give Ozzy his vote for $1 million over Yule. Their tribe then has an immunity challenge where they have to rip meat with their mouths and put it in a bucket. It's gross, and they barely lose by 2 ounces. Back at camp, Cochran freaks everyone out when he says, hey, we probably all have oral herpes now. And they're like, why would you say that? Cochran's like, it's true. Like, most people have oral herpes. So if you didn't have it before, you definitely have it now. Perfect, Cochran. That's the way to make the ladies swoon. Ozzy, of course, still wants to vote off Cochran. I guess what else is new? And at tribal, Jeff and the tribe can all they can talk about is Cochran, 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 Cochran. I mean, it's just endless. This whole season is only about 4 people, and he is one of them. So they all go to vote, and
it's the second to last stop for the train. Sorry, man. Hope you get that second chance.
Cochran. Cochran. It's 2 votes, Cochran. Dawn. 1 vote, Dawn. Elise. Elise. We're tied. 2 votes, Cochran. 2 votes, Elise. Dawn. We're tied. 2 votes, Dawn. 2 votes, Cochran. 2 votes, Elise. 1 vote left. 5th person voted out of Survivor South Pacific. Elise. Elise, the tribe has spoken.
Wow, Ozzy's so hurt by the betrayal. Anytime he finds a girl hot, he gets blindsided. Watch out, Whitney. Ozzy says, screw all of you. I'm a free agent now. And by the way, I have the idol. Ha ha. Now, I know Ozzy thinks he pulled one over on them, but if anything, it's free information. Cochran says, I love Ozzy when he has a temper tantrum. It's great for me.
I don't know if Ozzy's temper tantrum is going to continue well into the future, but the less pleasant he is, the better it is for me. So I hope he continues, being a crybaby because it's great for me. Oh, in all seriousness, he's just behaving like a stupid bitch.
Ozzy then comes to his senses and apologizes to everyone, but it is time. It is finally time to address Whitney and Keith. The show purposely avoids them seemingly as much as possible, and that is because, in my mind, they're flirting hard and having a showmance, which Survivor normally likes. But as mentioned before, Whitney is already married, so it's awkward. Almost all of their scenes are hidden in the recap episode that most people skip when watching a season, and Cochran says they cuddle up all night and get weirdly close. Anyways, their tribe wins immunity and reward, and the reward is at this awesome waterfall where Cochran says, yeah, I'm not a water person, but I am a sparkling water person. So we move on to episode 7, where Christine is killing it on Redemption. I haven't really talked about it, but Christine has knocked out everyone on Redemption Island, and Ozzy proposes a crazy idea.
Cochran and I got back from the duel, and I wanted to let Cochran in on my worst case scenario plan. I don't want to go to Redemption, but if it comes down to it, if it's like a do or die situation, right, I will go. Hopefully win.
The general sense around camp is that the merge is happening sooner rather than later. And now Ozzy suggested that he'd be willing to make a pretty bold move in the event that we lose our next immunity challenge. He's considering lending his hidden immunity idol to somebody else on the tribe, allow Ozzy himself to get voted out of our tribe so that he can be sent to Redemption Island Arena and duel against Christina, and then hopefully win, come back to our tribe and keep our numbers intact. 6-6 tie going into the merge. It's an admirable thing, man. Seriously.
I mean, it's just, sometimes you just gotta sack up and go for it.
It sounds great, but people say stuff like this all the time only to not follow through with it. It's like the show leaves it in the edit to be like, hey, future players, maybe you should try this. Wouldn't it actually be cool if you actually did it for once? Though Ozzy is an emotional guy, and if this idea tickles him just right, he may do it. The show then has everyone paint up as twins for another movie reward. We haven't seen a movie reward since Nicaragua when 2 people quit at the same time. Jeff then tries to explain how this Adam Sandler film, Jack and Jill, where Adam Sandler plays both Jack and Jill, is just like Survivor. Press X for doubt. Their tribe loses, thankfully for us so we don't have to watch it. But it's mostly thanks to Cochran that they lose, and Ozzy is ticked. He really wanted to watch Jack and Jill. But what is weirder is that Coach's tribe is now making a public display of prayer, but not in a good way. Like in a forced way, it doesn't come across as legit. I don't know how to put it. It's more like Coach is running a cult, which no one has said yet, but I'm gonna be frank with you, they're gonna say it later. Back at camp, everyone harasses Cochran for sucking at the challenge. And they say, you're gonna have to go to Redemption where you're actually gonna have to redeem yourself for once, for sucking so hard. And Cochran says, I'm more of like a court jester. I don't think I'm gonna win any challenges. Ozzy says, come on, Cochran, show some confidence.
You're gonna go in there and you're gonna tell Christine, you're gonna make it so palpable that Christine's gonna be like, crap, that's it, I'm done.
I don't know how well I can pull off the whole, I'm indestructible, so you better be shaking in your boots, you stupid bitch.
The next morning, something stirs within Ozzy. Like Cowboy in Cook Islands, Ozzy has a dream. Nothing about credit cards in this one, though. He wants to do the thing he told Cochran about. Ozzy's going to hand Cochran his idol, get voted out, eliminate Christine, re-enter the game. That's his plan. What a relief, because if Cochran got voted out, I'm pretty sure he was done. Keith says, I hate this idea. Cochran needs to fight his own battles. Whatever, Keith, shut up. So at Tribal Council, they all go to vote, and
22 seasons of Survivor. I've never seen anything like this, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it, especially if it means saving my ass for one more tribe. Thank you.
7th person voted out of Survivor South Pacific.
Lucky 7.
Ozzy, need to bring me your torch. Ozzy, tribe has spoken.
That has to be the happiest vote out I have ever seen. Back at camp, Keith is guilting Cochran again. And again, I say, shut up, Keith. And the tribe decides that come the merge, Cochran will play double agent to find out who Upolo wants to target so they can play their idol correctly. So upon arriving at the Redemption Island duel,
I gave pretty much everything to my tribe, and then we lose one challenge because somebody can't operate a clip, and that ends up being the person that sends me here. You play the idol, you don't even... I know someone else probably knew that you had it. As far as I'm concerned, tribe boundaries, I mean, We're at the merge, they don't exist anymore. It's all 1 for 1, and whoever sticks together from this point on makes it farthest in the game. But I thrive under the pressure to come back in the game for revenge, basically.
The acting was so bad, a dead giveaway. All Ozzy had to do was say Cochran is a jerk who idled him out. And that's it, keep it simple. Ozzy does beat Christine as expected, and they are merged. Each tribe with 6 members. Cochran says being a double agent will be a lot of fun for him. They all merge on the Savai'i campsite, and that is when Coach finds out that Keith and Whitney get the good sleeping spot to snuggle all night while Cochran has to sleep elsewhere. And again, this is a secret scene because the show doesn't really want to focus on Keith and Whitney with their marital cheating, but then Coach talks to Cochran and...
Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, our tribe has a budget. And I feel like you guys are trying to play us, okay? You guys came up with a story. You guys sent Ozzy to redemption. You got an idol in your pocket.
Okay.
And knowing that Ozzy would win redemption. It was a risk, but you knew that Ozzy would win redemption.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
If all 6 Savai's vote together, there's a 1 in 5 chance that you're going to be drawing a black rock. And so will I. And that's a way to play the game. There's a line in the sand. Come across that line.
All in all, what I took away from Coach is that he's an incredibly intelligent guy. I mean, I've watched him, always viewed him as this eccentric dragon slayer who talks about wizards and, you know, King Arthur. But he's a smart guy, and Coach laid it all on the table for me, saying I could make us draw rocks the next tribal council, or, and what I'm maybe most seriously considering, I could completely jump ship, betray my old tribe, and join a polo.
When did Coach get so smart? Is this the same guy we saw in seasons 18 and 20? What happened to the Coach I knew? He seems like he actually has it together now. Cochran is all in on this flip as he tells Upolo everything. I mean, it's been like 2 minutes, including who Savai'i is targeting and who Ozzy is playing the idol for. That is so dumb. What is he doing? Don talks to Cochran and advises against a flip and says, no way. We need to stay loyal to our tribe to have a chance to win. True. Very true, Don. Flipping on Savai'i to Apollo would burn 5 potential jurors all at once and would solidify you can't win. No one's gonna respect you. We then see Don and Ozzy win immunity. Nice. At this point, a rock draw is likely to happen, the first one since season 4, if they have a tie vote at tribal council, meaning 5 or 6 Upolo members would draw rocks based on what we know from season 4's rock draw. And frankly, there's a rock draw in the future, and I don't know what the rules are this season, so I'm just going between the two and trying to figure out what are the odds. So anyways, it's either 5 or 6 Upolo members would draw rocks, and 2 or 3 Savai's would draw rocks. Either way, the odds are incredibly in Savai's favor with this going their way. They have like half of their tribe, if not more, safe from a rock draw, depending on how the rules are this time around. Cochran then tells Sophie even more information for free, and she tells him nothing. He is just giving up for nothing in return. Terrible, just terrible. Cochran's mind says that he wants to put the game in his own hands, but like JT in Heroes vs. Villains, I don't think he has enough info to make a good call here, as he barely knows Upolo. Why not wait for Savai'i to get the numbers over Upolo and then pull a Sesternino circa season 6 and use them as bottom feeders to do his bidding? Anyways, at tribal council, Jim says it makes 0 sense for anyone to flip at this point. Agreed, Jim, agree. So they all go to vote, and
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
I'll play it. Might as well. Now's the time. So it's for Whitney.
This is a hidden immunity idol. Any votes cast for Whitney will not count. First vote. Keith. Rick. Keith. Rick. Keith. 3 for Rick. 4 votes, Keith. Cowboy. Rick. That's 5 votes, Keith. Rick. That's 5 votes, Rick. Keith. 6 votes, Keith. Rick. We are tied. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to re-vote. You can only vote for Keith or Rick. Keith and Rick, you will not vote. If anybody is thinking about changing their vote, this is your last chance. First vote. Keith. Rick. Keith. 2 votes, Keith. Rick. 2 votes, Rick. That's 3 votes, Keith. Rick. 3 votes, Rick. Keith. 4 votes, Keith. 4 votes, Rick. Keith. 5 votes, Keith. 8th person voted out of Survivor South Pacific. Keith, need to bring me your torch.
Coward.
Keith, the tribe has spoken.
Coward.
Don't talk to him like that. That's what you get. Stay close to me.
Hello, welcome to the second half of Cochran's story video. You see, the first half we saw a scraggly underdog boy man who was quirky and fun to root for. Now, the story has shifted. We have villain Cochran. Same person, different perspective, as he single-handedly gave the cult alliance of Upolu the power to run the season. Because yes, it is a cult. What he doesn't realize is that he is likely number 7 in their alliance, and at worst, on Savai, he was 6. Wow, great job, proud of you. We then see Cochran lie to Ozzy about why he flipped, saying it had nothing to do with the Savai members personally, and Jim says, "You are a coward and a poor excuse for a man, never talk to me again." Ozzy calls him a wiener in confessional, which is my favorite of all the reactions, and Whitney says, "Don't kid yourself, Cochran, this move was super personal, you don't have to lie to me." Yep, Cochran just burned 5 potential jury members for, in my opinion, no good reason. Amazing. Jim wins immunity and Ozzy is the target. At tribal council, Ozzy is confused. He says, "Cochran, when did I ever make you feel small?" Ozzy, come on, man. Cochran says, all pre-merge. You constantly berated my challenge performance and tried to vote me off, which is very true. Ozzy doesn't even argue this. He knows it's true. So they all go to vote, and
You have been trying to get me out since week 1, so I don't think it's that inappropriate for me to be voting for you.
First vote, Ozzy. Ozzy, 2 votes Ozzy. Ozzy, 3 votes Ozzy. Cochran. Cochran. Ozzy, that's 4 votes Ozzy, 2 votes Cochran. Ozzy, that's 5 votes Ozzy. 9th person voted out of Survivor South Pacific. Ozzy, that's 6, that's enough.
You guys fell for my master plan.
Ozzy, once again, tribe has spoken.
man, every Savai member being voted off because of Cochran's flip is so dumb to his chances of winning this game. At the immunity challenge, everyone sits out to eat pastries, except Dawn, Whitney, and Jim. It's a bad look for all of Upolu plus Cochran. Whitney then wins immunity, and Jim says Cochran is playing an amazing 3rd place game because he is going to be dragged to the end as a goat that anyone can beat. While he is saying this, Cochran is being his usual goofy self, like it's contrasting between the two, but yeah, it's definitely showing that Cochran's not winning. So they all go to vote, and
10th person voted out of Survivor South Pacific, Jim. Jim, tribe has spoken.
Cochran has played the most brilliant 3rd place game in Survivor history.
You can't predict the impossible that somebody would be that much of a freaking just coward.
I mean, that's really what, coward is like the word that just keeps ringing over and over for me.
Somebody that literally won't fight their own battles. Let somebody else do it for them and then stab them in the back.
Well, and it's somebody that has a philosophy that they're playing not to lose, but they're not playing to win.
I said that to him when I was like, how do you feel like you're playing? Do you feel like you're actually, contributing? Like, he literally hasn't done a single thing this entire game.
Zero. He's nothing but a liability.
But Elise wouldn't have done this.
Elise would have been hotter to watch, too. I would have somehow, some way loved to see Cochran here. Just so you guys could beat the out of him.
yes, that secret scene on Redemption shows you the Savai members' true thoughts about Cochran, as if you didn't really know. 0% chance of winning. We then see Dawn feel responsible for letting Cochran flip and ultimately kill the Savai tribe. Cochran says, "Don't blame yourself, it's not your fault." He then does some Coach Chi where Cochran says to make it far in this game, he must follow the cult leader, that's what he calls Coach, and do as he says. But then Coach makes Cochran a half promise.
Do you think everybody else is going to vote me at 7?
I will do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen. But everybody always says that I'm in control of the game. I'm really not.
And I was kind of alarmed to hear that Coach is pretty concerned about Albert's mind in the game right now. I think there's some sort of power struggle. Albert, he is possibly one of the 2 biggest leaders of that group, so it's possible he's aware that they are gunning for me earlier than they say they are. So I'm starting to get concerned about my place in this game. I felt comfortable 24 hours ago. Today I'm not so comfortable.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too promising. Jim is right that Cochran is playing an amazing third place game. And in any other season, I think that's what would happen. But the cult of Upolu is too strong to let Cochran break them up. Cochran realizes the error of his ways. I mean, it's way too late, but he realizes it finally. He's like, I don't want to end up in 7th. What did he think was going to happen? So he tells Don and Whitney he wants to work with them now. Too little, too late, dude. Who on Upolu can you possibly flip? You didn't have enough information. This is why it was a bad idea. We then see Sophie win immunity, and Jeff says, tonight we will have a twist at Tribal, and since the season is a 1-for-1 copy of the last, we kinda can guess what it is. They're gonna have a double vote off. Albert tells Cochran that for sure he is out in 7th place, and Cochran says, what the heck? I am owed a better spot. Why? Upolu tricked you. All 6 of them earned their spots. Cochran says, Survivor is all about big moves. I'm not sure where he heard that from, and he may be the first person to ever say that on the show. Don't quote me, but I don't remember anyone before Cochran saying that. So he says Survivor's all about big moves. And if big moves means dumb moves, then sure, I guess so. A lot of people do them. At Tribal, again, it is emphasized that Cochran will finish in 7th, and Cochran is in denial. And even Jeff says, dude, obviously. It makes Cochran look so dumb. We then see Dawn voted out, the only person who I could actually see voting for Cochran. And then Sophie wins immunity, so Whitney is voted off next. All of Savai'i is gone except Cochran. Episode 12, aka the final several, aka Cochran is going home. Here we are. Cochran says now is the time to make a move to avoid elimination by the family. Sure, bud. Too little, too late.
5th grade, for whatever reason, was kind of like my rambunctious period. I wanted to change my reputation as a brown noser, so the nastiest thing I could think of to start prank calling people, and I went back to my house. I didn't have a very good understanding of how sex worked, so I was calling these girls and saying things like, hey, I think you're so hot, I really want to trade sperm with you.
When I first came here, I felt kind of bad for Cochran. It seemed like people bullied him. But I can see now why people got annoyed with him. You know, I get frustrated by the kind of air he puts on. I think he's really proud of the move he made. And I think he still thinks that somebody will take him to the end. I don't like it.
Pre-merge of this happened, there would have been like goofy, fun music, but now it's all ominous. The fun of Cochran's story left the moment he burned Savai'i, and the edit has done nothing to bring it back. Hence why Sophie gets to dunk on him. Cochran then talks to all of Upolu, minus Edna, about saving him over her, and they go, yeah, we'll totally think about it. Spoiler alert, they won't really think about it. Sophie says, screw Cochran, he made a dumb move and now he has to live with it. Albert then wins immunity and gives Cochran the reward he won since Cochran says, it's my birthday.
Up to this point, I've never had a massage. I'm thrilled to see that, some stupid little white lie about when my birthday was, which actually took place 6 months ago, is helping me at least somewhat in this game, even if it's just to get a free massage.
Again, what would have been funny in the pre-merge does not come across the same way now. Cochran then talks to Albert and Sophie about flipping, and Albert is on board, but Sophie is not. Cochran then tries to turn the tide on Rick since he calls Albert Princess Albert, which I think is kind of funny. People are like, I guess, maybe. Edna seems half interested. At Tribal, Cochran tries to guilt the entire Upolu tribe into keeping him, and that's when he finally realizes he made a big mistake.
13th person voted out of Survivor South Pacific. Cochran. The tribe has spoken.
Jeez.
Just take the steps.
Yeah.
Cochran is on Redemption Island against Ozzy because yes, Ozzy has been expertly beating everyone who comes there. Cochran says in retrospect, I realize Upolu might have used me. Yeah, welcome to Duville, population U. Ozzy tells Cochran, if you make Final 3, I will vote for you. And Cochran is like, yeah, I can't promise the same thing. Dude, like, come on, man. Did you not write a whole essay about Survivor juries? You know to say, come on, Cochran. So they go to compete and
Ozzy wins the duel and stays alive.
Cochran is one of the 4 main characters this season, and for the entire pre-merge, he was the quirky underdog you rooted for, as he clearly wanted to be there and tried his hardest while also being constantly entertaining. However, his story shifted when he flipped to Upolu and gave them all the power. That is when Cochran becomes an unlikable weasel who we should hate for ruining Savai'i, and namely Ozzy's chances at winning. Did Cochran change as a person after this flip? No, but the story stopped letting him have the fun edit and lead more into others cutting him down. How can someone be so smart and yet be so deeply flawed? Stupidity. Yeah, you can be smart, but like JT in Heroes vs. Villains, I don't think Cochran had enough information to make the call that he did at the merge. He didn't know Upolu, he just knew they weren't Savai, and that is not enough to make the move he made. His quirky charm clearly won people over, but him doing it 24/7 grated on people clearly, as Sophie pointed out. I believe flipping on Savai could have worked in his favor, he just did it far too soon and guaranteed 5 people who would never vote for him come the end. Speaking of those people, when Cochran is voted out of the game and he arrives at Ponderosa, here's what happens.
Cochran, you screwed me over. Me out over $1 million. When I see you in a dark alley, I'll kick your ass.
You're nice.
I'm sorry. I hope that I hold no ill will towards anybody. I know that I'm still like in a weird position in terms of how people probably feel about me.
Game-wise, I don't have a problem with forgiving you, but I think just as a human being, you know, it's kind of normal to say, I know you're going home, I'm voting for you, that's my choice, but you didn't do any of that. So I think I feel a little bit like I just need some time to adjust.
I understand I did something pretty crummy, but I hope that we can at least kind of be cordial and learn to be friendly. I know it's still like the wounds are still fresh.
It has nothing to do with the game. You showed your colors and the colors that I don't like to be associated with.
And what colors?
Yellow is your color.
None of us would be here if you hadn't done what you did. I mean, I really feel like he lost us the game. I'm not going to be bitter about it for many more days. I forgive people and I try to get over it, but it's still upsetting at the same time when you know you were so close to being that final 6.
Eventually people warm up somewhat, but yeah, that flip clear as day killed any chance Cochran had at winning this season of Survivor. After the show is done and come the reunion, Jeff's love for Cochran has clearly grown as he asks Cochran about how others have treated him and his expectations and blah, blah, blah. Let's get to Jeff's juicy question.
One last question, just a yes or no answer, because I want to get to Brandon. I said to you when it was over, I said, I know you're not dating now, but you're going to be. Are you dating, yes or no?
No.
Wait a minute. Nobody?
No, nobody. Just come at me.
Cochran is single? How could that be? On a side note, this reunion features Brandon Hance explaining that he tried being a good moral person on Survivor, but his family didn't approve at all as they watched through the season episode after episode, and none of them came to the reunion except one, Russell Hance. And what does Russell do? He criticizes and belittles his nephew Brandon on national TV. Brandon is 19 with a wife and kids. Cut him some slack. So Cochran does get to play 6 months later on Survivor, Fans vs. Favorites 2.
When we talked about doing fans versus favorites, Cochran was one of the first names that came up because in so many ways he represents everything good and bad and fun and silly about Survivor.
I'm legitimately nervous about my fate. I think I'll either be one of the first couple of people voted off or you're gonna see me go very, very far.
This is not a guy who should be on this show. His skin has never seen sun. He doesn't know how to find food or fish. He's afraid of the water. But on any given day, anybody can do anything in this game. And that's why we want Cochran back. Some people found Cochran to be a betrayer. Other people found him to be a pretty decent player. I'm really curious which way he's gonna go this time.
I'm still gonna be horrible in challenges. I'm still gonna be, not particularly helpful around camp. It's kind of a bittersweet thing. I voted out Dawn, and Brandon voted out me.
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Season 26 of Survivor sees the show in the Philippines for the second time ever. And for the second time ever, they're also doing the Fans vs. Favorites twist. Our protagonist for this story is John Cochran, back from season 23 South Pacific as a favorite, of course, along with Dawn and Brandon Hance from his season. Despite this being 3 seasons later, it is filmed only a year after season 23, and that makes me wonder, did Cochran have enough time to learn from his last outing? Will he be less annoying and make less mean remarks and make better decisions? Well, we're about to find out. As Cochran gets off the chopper, someone yells out, "Nerd alert!" And I mean, who would say such a thing as a fan, right? Though, I mean, it's true, but like, Who's saying that? Come on now. We then get our first reward challenge, and when he pairs up with Francesca, he's out there facing off against Laura, and
Cochran, you take her. Cochran, you stay with her.
Cochran, you're gonna have to take her down. Taking me, Cochran? You think you can handle me?
You wouldn't believe what I can handle.
Cochran is the same goofy self from last time. They win reward, and upon arriving at their camp, Philip Shepard, Special Agent question mark, is playing the Boston Rob rules that he made from watching Boston Rob. And one of those rules is apparently doing a 2.0 version of the Stealth RS Alliance, where he loops in Cochran as the intelligence officer. This is positive, as the Stealth RS Alliance has 6 people out of the 10 on their tribe. That first night at camp, Cochran says, "I'm feeling a bit on edge," and Brandon says, "I know you need, Cochran," and he gives him a hug, and Cochran's like, "Whoa, hey, oh, you're in a good mood. That's good." And hey, the love continues for Cochran, as even Francesca, when talking to Brenda, says, "We can trust Cochran. He's a solid dude." Now that's in a secret scene, but still, she said it. So when everyone wakes up the next day,
Weather-wise, this is not my environment. I was not aware how quickly I could become sunburned. The sun is constantly roasting you. My entire body, head to toe, literally my toes are sunburned. Right.
Oh my gosh!
Cochran is like a little tomato right now. He is all bright red all over the place, and he's swollen like a little pregnant lady.
I can't believe it. And I feel like crying, kind of, but I'm, trying to stay strong. I mean, my new persona is strong, a little bit of swagger, a little more confidence. I can't be the same freak I was last time.
how? How did this happen? I don't remember his body responding like this the last time he played. So what is this? And believe it or not, it gets worse for Cochran. Their tribe loses immunity, and just like that, the favorites tribe, a questionable label for them I might add, have to vote someone off. But in the meantime, Corinne gives Cochran a wet buff to help him cool off, and he's his usual self-deprecating self, which makes everyone laugh. And kind of in a way, it lowers his threat level. You can't take this guy seriously. Cochran then talks it on, because at the moment, it looks like the vote is gonna be between Philip or Francesca, with Cochran and Dawn potentially being the swing votes, debating on which side they should vote with. Dawn says, "Whatever we do, Cochran, I trust you to the end." Okay then, so they all vote a tribal, and
first vote, Andrea. Andrea. 3 votes, Andrea. Andrea, that's 4 votes, Andrea. Francesca. 2 votes, Francesca. That's 3 votes, Francesca. Francesca, we're tied. Francesca, first person voted out of Survivor fans versus favorites. Francesca. Francesca, the tribe has spoken.
Okay.
do you want to tell me what videos I should make? Well, the patrons on Patreon get to do that every month. You also get to watch everything I make up to 7 months early, and join our Survivor Fantasy League if you join us on Patreon. There's a link in the description. Thank you for your support. Now with that, dang, they really voted off Francesca first. Twice. I mean, Cochran didn't do it twice, but he did the second time. He knew she was the first boot in her last season. Brandon says that is one of the harshest and worst things he's ever seen in his life, and he was in a gang. He specifically tells Dawn, mostly Dawn I gotta add, and Cochran, that this is why they will lose the game. Brandon is mad, but we all saw him last time. Give it a few hours and he'll be as cheerful as a daisy again. I say that, and then Brandon proves me wrong when he tells Eric that he's feeling revengeful and wants to go full Russell Hantz on everyone, and even tells Cochran he was on the verge of taking their beans and rice and dumping it. All over the Francesca vote? Really? A lot has happened since the last time Brandon played on Survivor, and he's clearly carrying that with him on his shoulders. Cochran then compares Brandon to a sociopathic murderer who has 2 extremes to his personality, and I get where Cochran's coming from. 1 minute Brandon's in a great mood, the next minute he's flying off the handle. We then see, and mind you, this is to Brandon's face what we're about to see. We then see Philip openly compare himself to Boston Rob. Oh, the audacity. And he calls himself the CEO of their tribe and tells Brandon that at best, he's middle management. Dude, really? Wow, I can't believe Philip just said that straight to his face. Their tribe wins immunity, and the next episode sees Cochran sucking up to the show in such a blatant way that I don't think we've ever seen before on the show. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, Cochran knows what they want to hear when he says, playing Survivor is like tuning in on Wednesday nights at 8 on CBS, except instead of tuning in for 1 hour a week, he gets to be here 24 hours a day. So it's like Survivor all the time. And boy, is it amazing. What a suck up. We then get some rustles of who should go next on their tribe when Philip says he wants Corinne gone. And Andrea talks to Cochran about getting Corinne out as well, since Andrea trusts Cochran. But in all reality, they should be voting off Brandon, right? He's still ticked off. He has not calmed down and tells Eric they should go nuclear and burn the camp to the ground. Wow. Their tribe wins reward and immunity, and with that reward, they get Tata the Bushman, who is something else.
So the favorites won the reward challenge, and we got to have a local bushman come to camp and introduce us to ways of improving our camp and actually physically improving it for us, as well as cooking a great feast for us. As we got to form as much of a rapport as you can form with somebody like Tata the Bushman. Oh yeah! Tata's a married man, but that didn't seem to impede him from really trying to get his bump and grind on with the girls of the favorites tribe. Since he's kind of this bizarre little woodland creature, he gets away with it. If I tried that, I'd seem like I was some creepy predator. The girls found it delightful. They even were all kissing him on the cheek, which I'm sure will provide him with fodder for years to come in his mind and heart.
Tata gets all the ladies. That night, despite the great success of the favorites tribe so far, Brandon says, I'm done. I want to quit and go home and see my wife and kids. Yes, believe it or not, at the age of 20, Brandon has a wife and multiple kids. That's a lot for that age. And he says he wants to apologize because I was gonna burn down the shelter and pee in the beans and rice. I mean, my goodness, this is like the 5th time he said something like this. Get him out of here. Let him quit. But then the next morning, Brandon unquits. Dude flip-flops his emotions constantly, and I can't really blame him. He needs some help. They then win reward thanks to Philip. In fact, Philip has been the hero who has won them 3 challenges in total. I failed to mention that, but it's important because it's gonna come up later. Do you think Brandon cares that Philip's actually accomplished that? No, he just hates that Philip is showboating about it. And this is the final straw for Brandon.
This Philip and Brandon rivalry, it's getting to me. I woke up this morning, who starts the fire? Brandon starts the fire. Who's the only dude in this tribe who can start a fire with a piece of flint? Brandon. So I don't need no old 54-year-old punk bitch telling me don't bite the hand that feeds you. He doesn't feed me. I'm a Hans. I feed me.
No, Brandon! Come on, Brandon! Brandon, out now.
Stop it. Stop it.
Stop, they're blocking.
Hey, Phil! Here's a reason to vote me out, you little... Huh? With your stealth all rust bull... Huh? I'm the author of my fate, buddy. I'm the author of my fate.
The first time I watched that scene, I was shocked, as I'm sure most of you were, but in retrospect, all the signs were there from episode 2. He brought up ruining the camp at least 5 times, and that was on the edited show. Imagine the footage they didn't include of him talking about this in one way or another. So what are the favorites to do if they win immunity? I have no idea. So at the challenge,
we realize that this is going to be a challenge for immunity, and it's for that reason that we're going to forfeit the challenge so that we may go to tribal.
Let me help you out a little bit, okay? They don't respect anything about the fans. That's bull, Corinne. Complete bull.
Okay, Brandon.
Don't play miss, I'm cool with the fans, period. And Philip speaks so highly of himself. Stop talking about yourself. Boston Rob took you to the end of the game. You didn't do anything. You were made fun of, and you come here and you tell me don't bite the hand that feeds you? I feed myself.
You need to grow up.
You need to shut up.
Okay, why don't we just cut to the chase? We're having tribal council right now. You good with this?
I'm good with it.
All right, 6th person voted out of this game. Brandon Hans.
yes, that was indeed the right call. Brandon is clearly unstable and has been all season. I only hope he can get some help. One day I hope to cover his entire story, as there is a lot to unpack here with him. Episode 6 sees them swapping tribes as Cochran stays with Dawn, Philip, and Corinne, along with 3 fans, one of those fans being Matt, who Cochran says, hey, I like Matt's tattoos. They're unlike Brandon's. Matt's are actually legit art. Shots fired. They lose immunity, and back at camp, talks are abound about which fan to vote out, and Cochran says,
Juliet, on the other hand, is such a non-entity out here. I'm tempted to say that she has like a vanilla personality, but I feel like that would be doing a great disservice to the flavor vanilla. I mean, people actively seek out vanilla flavored products. Children clamor to get a vanilla ice cream cone. Nobody's clamoring for anything Julia flavored.
There's the mean Cochran we saw more of last time. I knew it was happening. We just hadn't been shown it yet. He covers it in humor, but he's mean. Cochran wants her gone, but upon seeing how close Matt and Michael are as a duo, he knows that one of them needs to go instead. So they all vote tribal, and
7th person voted out of fans versus favorites. Matt, the tribe has spoken. See you guys.
As we slide into episode 7, Philip has a hate stick for Corinne. Why? I don't know. He seems to get along with all the other attractive women on the season, but I guess Corinne just rubs him the wrong way, and he has wanted her gone since Francesca left, if not before that. He says all this to Cochran, and Cochran's like, Philip, just simmer down. It's okay. If Corinne goes before the merge, the other favorites will see that we got rid of one of our own, and they're going to think that we betrayed them. Let's just wait until later. That is a good point. There will be plenty of time to vote off Corinne. It's not like she's a challenge beast. Their tribe then gets tree mail, and Philip is like, oh yeah, another chance for me to be the hero for my tribe. Oh my gosh. So he arm wrestles Cochran, easily beats him, feels really good about himself as a result, and Cochran says, it's all by design. I wanted to make Philip feel good. Okay, Cochran. But then, get this, they lose reward thanks to Philip, and it isn't even close. So we go to the immunity challenge, where they lose again, thanks to Philip. What the heck is going on around here? Well, back at camp,
I didn't want to win that challenge.
You're gonna say that.
It hit me. Once I saw it was the grappling hook, I'll just make a gallant effort, but it just won't quite be where it needs to be, because I would have tossed it slightly differently. I wouldn't have been winding it up like that.
It all makes sense. We had to throw the challenge in order to get rid of one of these fans, or else we were doomed. You can't make up this level of delusion, and that's what excites me about playing with Philip. I think he's actually at this point convinced that he threw the challenge.
The male lion with his mane, when he comes across another pride of lions or females, and there's cubs, and the male isn't around, what does he do? He kills all the cubs. You know why? Because those are potential rivals.
Yeah.
So today,
taking out the cubs.
Taking out the cubs.
It's just, it's absurd.
Okay, I mean, come on. Sure, buddy, sure. You totally threw that challenge on purpose. Philip is out here playing 4D chess, rewriting history, of course. So at Tribal Council, they vote off the vanilla soft serve Julia, and episode 8 brings with it the merge. The merge sees the favorites tribe up 8-4, so the fans don't stand a chance. At least that's the way the story's portraying it to us. Tree mail indicates that the immunity challenge will be the gross food eating competition, which is awesome for us as viewers. But Eddie, he doesn't think it's awesome. He's one of the fans, and he's worried that eating gross food on TV will hurt his chances with the ladies back home. Amazing, Eddie. Amazing. Cochran says, I'm at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the ladies, so this can only improve my chances and make me look dangerous. So at the immunity challenge, Cochran makes it through heat after heat until it is only him versus Malcolm, which Jeff says is basically David versus Goliath. Jeff loves Cochran so much, as you will plainly see throughout the rest of the game. So when he faces off against Goliath,
Go. This is gonna go fast.
Cochran pulls it out for immunity.
You're gonna touch my shoulders. It's gonna be incredible.
that's gotta be Cochran's only individual win this season, right? There's no way he's beating anyone else at anything on a physical level. But good for him. Dawn then talks to him and drops a surprise. I mean, I guess it's kind of a surprise. She says Corinne wants Philip out, which is not completely unexpected, but Corinne, this is the unexpected part, is apparently flipping on all the favorites, not just Philip. Oh, interesting. So Cochran talks to Corinne and
I'm just like upset because I shouldn't be getting targeted this early on. I think that splitting votes, I feel like is gonna cost me my life in this game. My desperation here is to convince the favorites to all vote together, take out either Brenda or Sherry. I really don't care. You know, we'll blindside somebody.
There's no long-term thinking in Corinne's game. It's always who has just, hurt me or insulted me in some way. They need to go. You aggravate Corinne and she wants your head on a platter.
If it's at all possible, if we can just take Sherry out, it's an easy vote. It brings us down by one fan, and then we can go for whoever you want. I can't afford this first vote to be a waste of one of the idols. No split votes. Let's feed the fire for Sherry. Sherry is a dumpster fire.
At Tribal Council, Corinne is voted off and does not make the jury. episode 9 sees Cochran's team win the reward challenge, and with that comes a picnic preceded by rappelling down a waterfall, which is super cool. Cochran says, "I rarely leave my apartment or Twitter, so I'm learning to embrace doing new things." The show just loves him so much. But more importantly is that while enjoying their feast,
Last Man's versus Favorite was dominated by women in the end. Yeah. How cool would it be though if it was dominated by guys?
We gotta get all the women out.
Seriously, Cochran, 3 warriors, 3 united votes. We're a voting bloc.
You know, Survivor's all about there's like a handful of legendary moves that people have never forgotten. You want to be one of those.
Survivor big moments. I like that. Reynold, Eddie, and Michael must not know me that well if they think that emphasizing the testosterone unity between us, and we're men and we hate women, and we're gonna, slap each other with towels in the locker room and chug beers. That doesn't work with me. It doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't want to be engaging in any sort of masculine tomfoolery with these numbskulls.
Eric is right there, and we don't hear his opinion on an all-male Black Widow Brigade. He's the only one here that was present for the Black Widow Brigade. Wild, just some wild storytelling choices this season. But like Cochran, Eric has toned down his game from last time, except he has been ridiculed over the years. So he's basically done a 180 from Micronesia, and I don't blame him. Dude does nothing because he's afraid of being made fun of. Brenda then wins immunity, and here's yet another person who has done a complete 180 from last time. You see, last time Brenda was basically a lost Black Widow Brigade member, but this time she's decided to be humble and nice.
Whenever I go off of myself, especially in the water, when I'm looking at the wall or I'm just looking into outer space, I'm getting grounded. I'm remembering why I'm here. I'm always reminding myself never to get too overconfident, but be confident in my moves at the same time.
I can't get a read on Brenda, and 99% of this game is getting a read on your tribe mate. She sits and stares at a rock wall for 18 hours without any sort of external stimulus, to actually be looking at. So I don't know what to make of her.
I feel like for Brenda,
I know,
to get there and win. I mean, she'd just sit in the ocean staring at a rock wall.
I know.
Combing her hair and scraping pots. That's all she did. If her strategy is to drive everyone insane by freaking people out by staring at rock walls and scratching a pot for hours, mission accomplished. Brilliant. That deserves $1 million.
I agree.
Now, unlike Eric, I would argue Brenda's doing a lot more than what is being shown, and I do argue that in her story video. So, who should be voted off next? Believe it or not, Malcolm has defected into an alliance with Reynold and Eddie, the 3 amigos, and Cochran wants Malcolm gone. But Andrea is freaking out and being paranoid because she believes that Eddie told her Malcolm has an idol. Spoiler warning, Malcolm does not have an idol. We go to Tribal, where the 3 amigos say that everyone here is just a puppet for Philip Shepard. Are they? Well, put a pin in that one. So they all vote, and
if anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
Hold up, man. They all voted for me.
So Reynold gave his idol to Malcolm. Any votes cast for Malcolm will not count. First vote, Andrea. 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 3 votes Andrea. Reynold. 3 votes Andrea, 1 vote Reynold. Michael. 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 5 votes Michael, 3 votes Andrea, 1 vote Reynold. 10th person voted out, the first member of our jury, Michael. Michael, tribe has spoken.
Well, of course I'm rooting for Eddie and Reynold. I think they're in a tough spot. They're truly underdogs right now. I'd like to see Cochran do something out there. I'd like to see, he feels like he's coming into his own a little bit. He's kind of very social. I think he could have a strong game. My boy Cochran, Eddie, and Reynold, those are the guys I'm pulling for right now.
As we go through the rest of the season, we're going to be tracking what the jury says once they're voted out of the game, as it will be very relevant to the end of this tale. But I must give props to Andrea. The show painted her as crazy, and as it turned out, while Malcolm didn't have an idol, Reynold had an idol, and he played it from Malcolm, so the safe vote Michael was the correct call, and Andrea was on that. Back at camp, the 3 amigos say again that they are glad they're not puppets for Philip Shepard, as we then cut immediately to everyone being puppets for Philip Shepard and the Stealth Arrest Alliance. Minus Cochran. I want to point out that he is shown to do this right after that scene. Yeah, clearly indicating that he is the only one in Stealth Arrest to not be fully buying into this nonsense. Even if other people are not fully buying into it, Cochran is the only one shown to not be buying into it. His team wins reward, and he says he needed this to refuel himself to continue his challenge dominance. So, who is being voted off next? Reynold. So of course, Reynold wins immunity, and back at camp, Malcolm finds an idol in front of the Stealth RS Alliance, meaning only Eddie is unsafe within the three amigos. The plan is to split the vote between Malcolm and Eddie just in case he does not play an idol. So when they go to tribal council, the three amigos drop a bomb.
Myself, Eddie, and Reynolds are on the outs. We're kind of like we have the plague or something. But this is supposed to be a game, so we figured we'd do something about it. And tonight we're gonna try to. So this is the other immunity idol I've been hanging on to. I'm giving it to Eddie.
The looks on faces. Andrew, I can't even look up. It's like I want an individual pause button, and I want to hit pause on the other 9.
I know for one vote, we've got control.
Oh my God.
One of the 7 of this very tight group are going home. So we're gonna be safe tonight, but tomorrow morning, the situation's not really changed. We're gonna be down 6-3. We understand that, but we'll just throw it out there. The 3 of us are voting for Philip.
Holy crap, Malcolm, Eddie, and Reynold are all safe and they are targeting Philip Shepard. And you know what? That's not a big loss. Losing Philip is just fine. They may win the battle with this move, but they won't win the war. So they all vote, and
if anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so. You. Eddie and Malcolm both played their idols. Any votes cast for Eddie or Malcolm will not count. First vote, Malcolm. Does not count. Eddie does not count. Malcolm does not count. Eddie does not count. Eddie does not count. Eddie does not count. Philip, 1 vote Philip. 2 votes Philip. 11th person voted out, the 2nd member of our jury. Philip, the tribe has spoken.
Thank you.
While this is not super relevant to the story, I found it interesting that in Philip's exit words, he hopes that this time around, his edit is nice and positive, which it wasn't. And on Ponderosa, they further dunk on him as they show a montage of him being terrible at basketball. But something I need to mention is that Philip did not get 3 votes against him. He got 4. Eric voted with the 3 amigos, and Cochran is confused as to why. We then have the survivor auction where Reynold buys an item, is offered to swap. Cochran says, "You gotta swap in this situation, it's the Monty Hall problem," and Reynold ignores him and ends up with only 1 slice of pizza, showing that Cochran the nerd knows his stuff. We then see Malcolm buy an idol clue, which sucks, but Cochran does net himself a challenge advantage, which hopefully will help. Just depends on the challenge. But as the auction closes out, everyone gets some peanut butter, and Sherry lets Cochran lick some off her fingers. Oh, a little reminiscent of Eric and Suri back in Micronesia. And Jeff is loving this so much because it's his baby boy Cochran. This auction is huge for him based on everything you've heard so far, but it gets better as he gets his letter from home as well, and that makes him break down in tears, showing a side of him I don't think we really have seen so far. Cochran is just usually cracking jokes and putting down others, so to see him cry gives him some much needed depth. But now it is time for the immunity challenge, and for Cochran to use the advantage he got.
At any point in the immunity challenge, you may move your hand up 2 knots, giving you a significant advantage.
Brenda steps off and is the first one out. Eric drops out of the challenge. We are now down to 7. In this last round, there will be no knot underneath you. Now it's just rope, except for Cochran. That 2-knot advantage coming into play. Oh, Sherry, can't do it. Sherry's out of the challenge. Just like that, Malcolm's out of the challenge. She can't hold on any longer. We're down to 4. Dawn cannot hang on any longer. Reynolds is out. We are down to 2. It is a showdown.
Hold on.
Hold it, Eddie.
He cannot. Eddie's out. Cochran wins immunity. Cochran
This hasn't lost his thrill.
with his 2nd individual immunity win. Safe tonight at Tribal Council, guaranteed a 1 in 8 shot at winning this game.
The irony of Cochran winning immunities when last time he was targeted by Ozzy for sucking in challenges is something else, but let's be real. That 2nd win, it basically comes with an asterisk. He's no Mike Tyson, he's Cochran. If Jason can win 2 immunities, anybody can win 2 immunities. But Malcolm does not find an idol, and his time is finally up as Cochran votes and says Malcolm leaving will be incredibly delicious. So Jeff reveals the vote, and
first vote, Reynolds. Malcolm, Andrea, 1 vote each. Reynold, Malcolm, Andrea, we're tied again. Reynold, Andrea, we're tied. Malcolm, we have a 3-way tie. We're gonna re-vote. Reynold, Malcolm, and Andrea, you won't vote. Everybody else, you can only vote for one of those 3. Malcolm, Malcolm. 12th person voted out and the 3rd member of our jury. Malcolm, Malcolm, tribe has spoken.
The 3 amigos are crumbling and Reynold is next. Cochran says the favorites have all the power, but he wants it all. He wants to suck up all the power from them. And he says this would be something his mother would be scared of. Yeah, okay, Cochran. So we go to the immunity challenge, and Jeff is blown away that his baby boy is not wearing a shirt. And he's like a proud dad with how much Cochran has changed and grown in 1 year's time. He's like, whoa, last time Cochran would have never taken a shirt off. Now look at him. It's just like, come on, Jeff. He clearly has his favorites. Colby, Boston Robin, now Cochran. It's so plainly obvious. Andrea wins immunity, but in the process gets mad that Brenda didn't just let her win. Entitled much? Back at camp, Eric finds a hidden immunity idol and just hands it to Andrea. Cochran says, has this man learned nothing about giving away immunity to attractive women? So they all vote at tribal and
13th person voted out, the 4th member of our jury. Reynold, need to bring me your torch. Reynold, the tribe has spoken.
I bet Eddie goes next. They're still not going to make a move.
I think they have to now. They have to now.
They have to. Or else, like, the biggest...
Andrea's smart enough to do it now. I know Cochran knows what to do, but as you see, he's very indecisive. I think John Cochran has an excellent chance. Maybe Dawn and Andrea might come together one more time to get him out of the game, because if he gets in the final, he could very well win.
People think that Dawn's a threat. I think Dawn's like a faux threat. Like, everyone's like, if Dawn makes it to... No one wants to go to the end with Dawn. Dawn hasn't done anything in this game. Dawn's a good person who's got 6 kids, but this isn't like... find a good person who adopts children and give him $1 million. This is Survivor.
Interesting. Philip said Cochran is indecisive, but then he says he can win, and we learn that there's at least some distaste for Dawn, who has been an emotional wreck all season long. Andrea then talks to Cochran and says, we need to get out Brenda or Dawn next, and Cochran says, no way. And in a risky move, he tells Brenda and Dawn what Andrea said. Now this is risky because if Brenda or Dawn reveals this to Andrea, that Cochran says that, hey-oh, Andrea has an idol, and Cochran could go. Eric wins immunity, promises not to give it away to any hot girls this time, and at tribal council.
First vote, Brenda. Andrea. Andrea.
What?
Brenda. We're tied. 14th person voted out and the 5th member of our jury.
Oh, you guys.
Andrea, tribe has spoken.
You were playing hard and they knew it. Cochran always knew that you were the threat, and so did Dawn.
I think I speak for everyone that we're elated that you're here to join the fun.
Now I just want Eddie to go to the end somehow.
It depends on who you are for who needs to go home. If you're running the show right now, like I would imagine Cochran and Dawn might be sitting on top of this thing, Eddie needs to go home. If the people on the bottom finally get up the nerve to make a move and take control of this game, I think Cochran comes up.
Wow, the jury is talking a lot, and I do mean a lot. Andrea wants Eddie to get to the end, and Philip and Malcolm both are giving credit to Dawn and Cochran. Back at camp, Cochran asks Eddie if he were to win immunity, who would go next? And Eddie's like, probably be you, Cochran. And Cochran's like, whoa, is that you saying that? Or is that like everybody saying that? And Eddie's like, no, that's everybody saying that. And before you think Eddie's just making stuff up or is stupid, he's not. We immediately cut over to Brenda, who's like, hey, we gotta vote off Cochran next. And she says this right to Dawn's face, and Dawn does not just sit there and disagree with her. Just like that, Cochran is an option to go. We then see that the next challenge is for love as everyone gets their videos from home, and we learn some backstory on Cochran and his family. As it may have been already plainly obvious for us to see, Cochran and his family, they never went camping. It didn't really never spent time outside like he has on Survivor, if that makes sense. I know, what a shocker. When he sees his mom again, he cries, and Brenda wins reward, picks Dawn to go with her, but then plot twist, Brenda can give everyone else reward or keep it for herself and Dawn and one other person. She lets everyone else have it and went on said reward.
Summer of 2000, I'm 13 years old, sitting on the couch at home with my mom watching Survivor Borneo. over the next 13 years, still been watching it, never missed an episode. You know, I've gone through my first kiss, puberty, a little bit more than that. And this is the culmination of 13 years of loving this and loving this with somebody I love and getting to share this now with somebody I love. You can't beat it. My dad's a neurologist, kind of a bookish guy. He's wearing sunglasses all of a sudden and he's working the grill like an old pro. I think he was putting up kind of an act to seem like a cool dude when he's anything but. I mean, he's basically me in 40 years. I don't know if he's gone Hollywood or what's going on, but he's flipping burgers and poking at hot dogs on a grill. Like, since when are we doing that, Dad?
Did Cochran's dad plan on trying to be cool, or was he always this way and Cochran never noticed? His mother also apparently told him that Brenda giving the reward to everyone else will help her win the game, and Cochran agrees. So they all vote at Tribal, and...
First vote, Eddie. Eddie, 2 votes Eddie. Brenda. Brenda, we're tied. 15th person voted out and the 6th member of our jury. Brenda.
I was honest with you guys. I was genuine with you guys.
Brenda, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
It hurts. Last time I would just ran around cold-hearted and really had no regard for anyone's feelings. And this time it was all about that. It was all about that. It was about making real connections with people, getting to know people for real, and really protecting good people who I thought were really, really good people. Eric and Don, and I don't regret any things that I did for them. I don't regret it. I'm not mad at them. I'm just hurt right now. That's it. And I really believe Don, and remember what I told you, Joe, what I did?
Yeah, we're gonna need some context here. Brenda, Dawn, and Eric had a final 3 deal, but more importantly is that in episode 10, Dawn lost her teeth in the lake and said over and over again, if I don't get my teeth back, I'm going to quit this game. I'm dead serious. And Dawn was dead serious based on everything we saw. So Brenda, while remaining calm and cool with Dawn's game literally in her hands, she didn't have to go do this, gets the teeth out of the lake, and her and Dawn make a strong emotional connection right then and there on top of the connection they already had. Brenda held Dawn's game in her hand when she found those teeth. So when we go to Ponderosa...
You know, appearances versus reality with Dawn. What she preaches ain't what she practices.
And you're not mad right now, give yourself a couple of days.
I'm not mad. Give yourself a couple of days.
It's true. It's true. You're going to be upset with her. You know, for some of these people, they have no heart, regardless of how they talk about how many children they have and they've adopted and, you know, referring to Dawn, I am. I guarantee you that Eric told Dawn, me, Eric, Dawn.
Yeah.
I think he probably told Dawn that.
We were all there together, the 3 of us.
But then she surely didn't want that, because that would have been the logical thing for her to do. In other words, she can't beat Cochran.
I felt like, look, Dawn, this is our moment, and my mom liked Dawn on the show, so I wanted my dad to meet her. And I wanted him to go home and be like, I had a bonding experience with Dawn. I wanted to talk about the retainer thing with my dad and be like, I felt like, because he knows my mom freaks out, I'm like, I felt like mommy was there when I was hugging her, and I'm like, this was the sign that I needed, that this was my main alliance. That day was when I came up with the plan.
People are now over Dawn. It isn't just Reynolds anymore. Basically, any goodwill Dawn had has completely disappeared, and the jury is pro Brenda, anti Dawn. As you all saw in my Brenda story video, this was huge for Brenda as a person, and it will have an impact on Cochran's story.
Survivor Finale Sunday. Only 5 castaways remain. Brain, Braun, Sherry, and Dawn.
Every day I'm paranoid. I have to win. They've totally underestimated me.
But a medical emergency.
This game just got rocked again.
Will knock it down to 4. Don't miss the thrilling Survivor season finale.
It's gonna be a crazy finish.
And live reunion show, CBS Sunday, 8, 7 Central.
Do Sherry and Dawn not have brains? Is that what the show's telling us? That ad is something else. And believe it or not, it did air on national TV right before the finale. Jeff kicks off the finale by saying his boy Cochran is an all-around threat who dominates challenges and the game. He dominates challenges? He won 2, and one of those is with the help of a challenge advantage. So basically he won 1, and then another one is with an asterisk. But does that really matter? No, the show is hyping up Cochran, and they clearly want us to root for him. But as the finale starts, plot twist. Eric collapses as they leave tribal council, and it is determined that he needs to be pulled from the game at the final 5. Again, Eric leaves at the final 5. Dude cannot catch a break. So when Eric goes to Ponderosa,
I am 110% rooting for Eddie.
I can't believe it, but I'm pulling for Eddie. Eddie's the underdog story.
I would love to see Eddie win the challenge. I would love to see Dawn or Sherry go home.
just like that, we're in the final 4. Cochran and Eddie shake hands and agree to go to the final 3 with Sherry, and at this point, unless he is voted off, I don't think Cochran can lose. The jury does not respect Sherry, they definitely don't respect Dawn anymore, and Eddie, well, Eddie does have some respect on the jury, but he's been too concerned with girls all season to really play Survivor in a way that should impress a lot of people. Cochran then wins a reward challenge that nets him an advantage in the next immunity challenge. Nice, and him and Dawn agree not to vote each other off. Cochran is lying to someone. I mean, I guess he could go to the final 3 with Dawn and Eddie and not really backstab anyone. That is an option, but then Cochran tells us that Dawn has every right to be paranoid because he might be cutting her next. Dang, dude, dang. Are you just talking or are you being for real? So at the final immunity challenge,
Cochran wins! Oh my gosh! Final immunity is guaranteed a spot at the final tribal council.
Cochran with his 3rd individual immunity win, 4th individual challenge win. You are in a very elite group right now.
I told you I should be among the Donaldsons and Marianas of the world, and now I'm doing it, right?
So this goes back to day 1, the first time you played when you said, please call me Cochran.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I proved myself last time, but I wasn't aware of what I could prove until I played this time around.
yep, Cochran has this in the bag. No one can beat him now. I know. It's bad storytelling to sit here and be like, oh, well, we know who's going to win the game before the final tribal council, but let's be real. Who else is going to win the game? As you may recall, Cochran wrote a prize-winning paper about the Survivor jury system and says even Harvard has not prepared him for this. And Survivor, it's just that difficult. I mean, come on, Cochran. He knows exactly what the show wants to hear. But the mean streak he had in season 23 pops out its ugly head here again when he says, well, I guess it's up to me to decide who gets second place and $100,000. Should it be Dawn, who I think is crazy paranoid? Should it be Sherry, who's just a goat to be dragged to the end? Or should it be Eddie, who is chauvinistic? That's what Cochran says. Well, when they all vote at tribal.
First vote, Dawn, Eddie. 2 votes, Eddie. 17th person voted out, and the 8th and final member of our jury, Eddie. Eddie, Travis spoke.
I think Sherry has a 0% chance of winning, which is why she is going to the final 3. I actually think Cochran's pretty much got this thing on lock at this point. So, I'm excited for him. He's a great guy.
At this point, when we're looking at the jury, who's pro Dawn and Sherry? That's not a joke, I'm legitimately asking. Who's pro Dawn and Sherry? Well, we know he has this in the bag. I kind of already indicated that. So how impressive can Cochran make this victory for himself? He starts off Final Tribal by saying,
Socially, I consider myself a socially awkward person. I have anxiety, but somehow I kind of fell into the role of like therapist. When paranoia was rampant around camp, I would step in and try to be a calming force, which is unusual for me. And strategically, I'm proud of myself. And I've seen every season of Survivor. I've never seen a collection of threats like this. And I know I can't out-muscle. I know I can't out-charm. I don't even think I can really out-strategize anybody, but I can beat people in timing. And that's what this game has been for me, is timing. Whenever a threat emerged, I would strike before I could be struck at. I've lied along the way, I've deceived along the way, and I'm proud of it, and I want to own it, and I want you to be aware why I think I played the best game here.
That's a good strategy, actually. He builds the jury up and does not place himself as a superior player to any of them, keeping their egos intact, but leans into the fact that he simply just timed his moves better. Honestly, this is a good tactic. Future Survivor players who are watching this should copy. Copy Cochran's Final Tribal homework and change it up just a little bit. This is a winning strategy. This is good stuff. Malcolm is the first one we see, and he ignores Sherry and says, basically, it's between Cochran and Dawn for my vote. He says, Cochran, how exactly were you better than me at this game? And Cochran says he utilized his insecurities to help him time his moves better than everyone else because he was just so insecure about what everyone was doing. Brilliant. Philip is next, and he publicly revokes. I can't believe I'm saying this. Philip is next. We gotta stick with this. Philip is next, and he publicly revokes Sherry of being a part of Stealth or Us. Why? I don't know, but it's hilarious. He says, Dawn, you were too emotional for me. Ironic coming from Philip, and he praises Cochran while saying he was a class act. The irony continues when Eric, who did almost nothing all game, tells Sherry, you did almost nothing all game, and then gets onto her for it. Eddie is the next juror, and he asks,
if you put yourself in this situation, you're at the bar with the three amigos, me, Reynolds, and Malcolm. Where do you see yourself?
I'm at the bar with them. I'm telling you that right now. No hesitation. 2 years ago, I would get like panic attacks going to bars or parties. Now I feel comfortable doing it. I think it's been manifest in the way I've played the game this time, and it'll be especially apparent when we hit up a bar and, you know, I'm gonna be sitting next to you, but we're gonna be slightly different because I'm 2 women on each side of me, so it's gonna be a slight physical distance. But no, I'm being serious. I would hang with you guys.
Cochran is such a liar. Remember what he said at the waterfall challenge? He either lied there or he's lying here. But it is what Eddie wants to hear, and that is what is most important in this moment. Michael is next, and he says Dawn and Cochran made many of the same moves, and yet Dawn, for some reason, is being painted as the villain of the two. Interesting. Cochran jumps on this opportunity to bury Dawn and says her paranoia was crippling to live with around camp, and he had to be her therapist, which was exhausting. Cochran strikes a nerve here, in a good way. Many times this season, we heard people complain about Dawn's paranoia and how she freaked out over nothing, so this resonates well. Reynolds is next, and he says Dawn seemed disingenuous to him all game. Andrea then asks Cochran which animal he played like in this game, to which Cochran compares himself to a chameleon due to how well he blended into every social situation, which I can buy. But then comes the big one. Brenda comes up and talks to Dawn, and
when you were like, Brenda, I'm going to pull myself from the game if I don't get my retainer back.
Yeah.
And I said, no. I said, you're staying in this game, Dawn. I realized afterwards, I had Dawn's fate in the game literally in my hands. Tell me, would you really have given it up if you didn't have your teeth back? Something cosmetic.
No, I wouldn't have.
I need you to go beyond words this time, and I need you to prove it to me. I want you to take out your teeth, Dawn.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
I want you to do that.
I don't understand how that...
I had your fate in my hand that day.
Okay.
And you're telling me, no, you didn't, Brenda. I would have stayed. It really wasn't a big deal.
If you're asking me to take them out and like humiliate myself, I'm happy to do that because truthfully.
No talking, let's
I'm
do
happy
action.
to do it. There they are.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, Brenda is hurt, and the jury is pro-Brenda and anti-Dawn. Now, we all know Cochran has this in the bag, but did anyone actually vote for Sherry or Dawn? Well, we're about to find out.
First vote, Cochran. Cochran. 2 votes, Cochran. Cochran. That's 3 votes, Cochran. Cochran. 4 votes, Cochran. The winner of Survivor Fans versus Favorites, Cochran.
He did it. He won. Unlike last time, Cochran made no big moves and subsequently played a much more subdued game like Eric and Brenda. He toned down his quirkiness and played a lot safer and a lot smarter. And what did that result in? The second ever perfect win on Survivor. Cochran got 0 votes against him all game and then received every vote from the jury to win. Only JT before him accomplished this, and that makes me wonder, is it more impressive that JT did it on his first run or that Cochran did it on this season against half a cast of all-stars? Aside from literally a couple of people, no one seriously considered voting him off, and what is wild is this was filmed 1 year after South Pacific, and to compare how Cochran learned from last time to how Brandon Hance changed from last time just shows how wildly different these two people are. Now, come the reunion of Caramoan, Jeff's love for Cochran has reached maximum peak as he asked Cochran about how others treated him and his expectations and blah, blah, blah. Deja vu, I know. Let's get to what we all really want to know.
She says, hey, Cochran, how do you feel about being considered a sex symbol now?
How I feel about being a sex symbol? First off, you should tweet me.
and I'll show you how much of a sex symbol I
Are
am.
you dating or not? Oh, so you're single.
I'm single.
Okay,
You know,
Patty at 4 Gray Z's. Tweet Cochran. He's on there.
Cochran is still single? What? How could that be? The horror. I have never seen Jeff be so interested in someone's love life for this long. But Cochran never plays Survivor again, believe it or not. That was it. And yet, this is not his final appearance. The very next season, Blood vs. Water, Brad Culpepper forms a strong men's alliance and specifically says he doesn't get how women and weak men like Cochran keep winning this show as of late. Why do I mention this random thing by Culpepper? Well, come season 34, Game Changers, Debbie is sent to Exile Island, which is really just a boat. And who shows up to see her? Cochran. What? Jeff's baby boy is back on screen as Cochran tries to give Debbie advice, and unlike him, she is way overconfident to the point of absurdity. Cochran then presents her with a gift and...
I only have a problem with Brad Culpepper.
Really?
So I finally just exploded at him. It scared the crap out of him.
You just blew up with a guy right before you got separated from him, and now he has all the time in the world to just sit back and think, what was Debbie telling you? I'm Brad Culpepper.
Nobody
I'm
calls me a wanker.
Nobody calls me a wanker. You know, I have one more game-changing twist to present you.
Oh my
As
God.
part of your exile experience. I'm presenting you with
Oh my God.
an advantage option.
Oh my God. See, now I'm saying, oh my God, that would be great.
I'm crying because I'm putting my Jeremy smell on you.
No, don't worry about it. I'll burn this clothes and I'm out of here.
Whoa, is Debbie single? Maybe this is the love that Cochran has been looking for. On a serious note, Cochran is here to give advice, and literally anyone on the season could have ended up on Exile. What if that person was like two-time winner Sandra, or Tony, or JT? Wouldn't that be strange, like Cochran trying to give advice to a winner? Actually, I take that back. Cochran could have helped JT a lot. So why is he never played again? It isn't due to Jeff not asking, because trust, Jeff has asked. In fact, season 40 Winners at War is not the 20 winners Jeff wanted on, because one person for sure turned him down.
I can tell you that of all the people we wanted, I would say Cochran is the only one that would have been on the list that if he had said yes, would probably have a spot on the show.
Cochran grew up and left the nest, but that doesn't mean his father, Jeff Probst, doesn't love him anymore. What do you think about Cochran? Do you want to see him play again on Survivor or another show? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. I'll see you all next time.